In the mid 90s, hip hop and R&B was at its pinnacle. Groups like Outkast, MCs like Keith Murray, Big L, Wu-Tang Clan, Method Man, Redman, E40. I mean, depending on where you came from in America, these guys were the truth. But there were two labels that really stood on the top of the hip hop throne. First, there was Bad Boy Records. And Bad Boy Records had a pretty good lineup. Number one, they had Notorious B.I.G. Then it was Craig Mack. Associated but not signed, Lil' Kim. I mean, you had Mace that came a little bit later. I mean, guys, and then one of my favorite of all times, Faith, 112, Total. But now there was Death Row. And Death Row was founded by Suge Knight. Now, in Death Row, you had, in my honest opinion, a more talented team overall. It was more hip hop based than, Bad Boy, which was more like pop and R&B and hip hop. But you had Suge at the helm, Young Snoop Dogg, Tupac Shakur, Warren G, Nate Dogg, then the Dog Pound, Daz and Corrupt. And most of y'all forgot, like Daz Dillinger was an awesome producer of music. Corrupt was an excellent lyricist, underrated. I mean, pound for pound, I don't think we've ever seen a label that has as much talent as far as the production side of the game and the actual talent side of the game as Death Row Records. I mean, shout out to Stevie J, because Stevie J was the truth on Bad Boy. But these two dudes were a part and top of the food chain. Now I want to go back into 1984. Tupac already had 2 platinum albums at the time, did some movies. He was supposed to record a verse with Lil Sean at Quad Studios to help pay some of his legal fees. He was in some trouble, right? But then Tupac ended up getting shot. Now, after that, Notorious Big was blamed. And in February, Biggie dropped this Who Shot You track. We already know it's a very, very popular song, and we all know what happened from there. Now, let's go to the Source Awards. August 3rd, 1985. Suge Knight takes the shot at P. Diddy. We all know what he said. Then we all started to see what happened after that. Snoop Dogg had an issue at the Source Awards. It was in New York City. But shortly after that, we saw Tupac get killed. Tupac got killed. Then a year later, Notorious Big got killed. Now, what does all this have to deal with? Well, what we saw was 2 groups of young, talented black men, in my honest opinion, fighting over nothing. 2 of the best MCs of all time lost their lives. And when you look at the talent that P. Diddy had, I mean, he produced Mary J. Blige. He produced the first album for Jodeci. I mean, that kind of production talent that Puff Daddy had is impeccable. I mean, these brothers together could have done a lot. But instead, what we see, infighting in the group, people dying. Now, I know that the Tupac killing probably had nothing to do with the Tupac Notorious Big beef, but people did die because of that. The main point of this particular episode is when talented black men beef, everybody loses. And I want to talk about it because we see this all the time. A lot of brothers in the hip hop industry have died, usually over nothing. A lot of brothers are sitting in jail cells over nothing. And who gets hurt? Well, the industry suffers. People who depend on them, suffer. And then the ability to get more money to open up new economies, everybody suffers. Everybody loses when talented black men beef. Because why? Black men, typically as entrepreneurs, understand the culture a lot better than everybody else. Warren Buffett, he always talks about you should only invest in what you understand. Let's go back to P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, back in the early 90s. He was with Andre Harrell and Atlantic Records and started Bad Boy himself. But, I mean, he was dancing background for Father MC. But It was him that produced Mary J. Blige, right? It was him that produced the first Jodeci album. Nobody would ever given these people so much of a chance if Andre Harrell and P. Diddy wouldn't have knew the industry. They knew the sound. They knew what people were looking for. Whites really didn't know it. They didn't know about the New Jack Swing. They didn't know about the hip hop. They didn't know about the culture. But see, these talented black men understood how to monetize our people and how to monetize the business and get them to the next level. You see, that's what happens when you understand what you're dealing with. You understand the market. Just like me here on YouTube, I understand the black manosphere content space. Obviously, I'm no P. Diddy, but I'm just giving you an example. You see, but now when you understand the economy, you understand the market, you understand the talent that the other group can't understand, you can monetize it. You can create an economy. You can create fashion gurus. You can create merchandise. You can create the people who actually manufacture stuff. All these different areas in the business that you can kind of create because of what you have. Like, look at FUBU. I mean, you saw what we did, right? Like Damon John. This is because you understand the market. But now when talented black men are beefing, there is no business. And you see what's happening right now is there is a business of dissing people, you know, your ops and all this kind of stuff. But really what happens is those guys don't even live to see 30. They're dead. And instead of working together like you see other communities do, these guys end up killing each other. And now what happens? Nobody wins. That person's family loses somebody. The shooter, their family loses somebody. Nobody wins. And what I want to talk about is how black men can come together with their talent and actually create more opportunities for each other and for our people and for our community instead of fighting. I'm challenging you to not make the same mistakes that some of our brothers have done in the past. In the East Coast, West Coast rivalry, some of the Bloods and the Crips, what you see in some of the gangs in Chicago, or even sometimes what you may see in churches. Yes, pastors beef. I'm challenging black men to come together as much as possible, or just leave each other alone, to come ahead and make peace and to try to open up the markets, open up the economies to each other, come to each other with value, recognize the talent that each individual black man has so that you can benefit off of his talent as he benefits off of yours, and use those systems to elevate your people. This is the only way to win. We see other groups do it all the time, but so many times our people end up where, hey, there's no talent. I mean, like, look at the infighting that happened at Death Row. I mean, Suge Knight had the best lineup of all time. Das, Corrupt, Warren G, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Tupac, and he lost it all. And again, that Dog Food album is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Like, look at listen to the production in that. These two young guys, man, they had everything, but can't keep it together. Not appreciating each other's talent. And when black men beef, nobody wins. We all lose, including me and you. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment at the top, and as you know, the buffoonery remains an all-time high. I'm out.